Good morning and welcome to day 7 of our Lent reflections, going through the 40 days of Lent through a Bible plan looking at the Gospels and the last few weeks of Jesus' life. Today we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 22 verses 1 to 14, and this is the parable of the wedding banquet. Jesus spoke to them again in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven is like a king who prepared a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his servants to those who'd been invited to the banquet to tell them to come, but they refused to come. Then he sent some more servants and said, 'Tell those who have been invited that I've prepared my dinner. My oxen and fattened cattle have been slaughtered and everything is ready. Come to the wedding banquet.' But they paid no attention and went off, one to his field, another to his business. The rest seized his servants, ill-treated them and killed them. The king was enraged. He sent his army and destroyed those murderers and burned their city. Then he said to his servants, 'The wedding banquet is ready, but those I invited did not deserve to come. Go to the street corners and invite to the banquet anyone you find.' So the servants went out into the streets and gathered all the people they could find, both good and bad, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed a man there who was not wearing wedding clothes. 'Friend,' he asked, 'how did you get in here without wedding clothes?' The man was speechless. Then the king told the attendants, 'Tie him hand and foot and throw him outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are invited, but few are chosen.'" Amen. May God bless to us this reading from his holy word. I think anyone who has introvert tendencies, the word invite sort of has a little shiver go down their spine. The idea of being invited to a party or a banquet or a large social gathering for some people can be daunting and terrifying and probably the one thing that they want to try and get out of more than anything else. But this is an invite that everybody should be glad to receive. God is inviting us to be with him. We look here and see that the people who he originally invited, many of them have rejected him. They've rejected his son. They've rejected his servants that he sent out, the prophets. And so he's gone out and he's invited everyone, good and bad, of all races, of all genders, colours, creeds, religious preferences, political preferences, everything else. Everybody is invited to this banquet. Everybody is invited to come and be with God. And that's an invitation that we should be really glad to receive. Because for many of us, in fact for all of us, we don't entirely deserve to be invited to sit at the banquet table of God, the creator of the universe, the person who decided good and evil, right and wrong. But he wants us with him. He wants to bring us to his table. He wants to bring us into his arms. And that invite, we should be rushing towards him with everybody else. But we need to do so with the right intentions and the right heart. One that involves worshipping him, thanking him, being grateful for an invitation that we didn't deserve. The man at the end who was thrown out for wearing the wrong wedding clothes is symbolic of people who come to God for the wrong reasons. Some people go there because what they want to do is try to make some money out of others. Some people do it purely because they want a reward and not for anything particularly great. Others do it because they feel cultural pressure into doing so. And that's one of the reasons that I actually celebrate the loss of Christendom, as it was called, in the United Kingdom, because we are no longer at the stage where people are bullied, emotionally manipulated into going to church, into becoming Christians, because that's not the way to come to God. We should do so willingly and thankfully. So that invitation is open to all of us to come freely. We're not being forced. We're not being pressured. We're being asked to come freely. We're being given that invitation. And it's now up to us as to whether we accept it and arrive in our wedding clothes, or whether we reject it. So that's a decision that God leaves all of us with. It's not a one-time offer. He goes through our lives continually inviting us and calling us and chasing after us as we're lost. But even at the last seconds of our life, that invitation will still be open. So listen out for it, hear it, and decide how you're going to respond. Because the invitation is just truly wonderful. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.